All right, well, there's one of the old trim tabs. And there's the other one. Those are going to be staying. That will all marry up with the new system. So let's go inside. Okay, so here's the trim pump. That's going to stay. But that relay's going to go. That is your auto tab retractor. That's your gauges. All that goes through there. This right here is the auto tab control, which I don't think ever worked very good. And then come up here and you have your switches and your auto tab control on off switch. And that's all going to get taken out. And everything else will get replaced. Most of the boat's torn apart. This is the main project this year. We're going to get rid of this Vortec 305. We're going to go to a 440 horse LSA. And I redid the jet drive. But while I'm waiting for the motor, everything else is going to get done. This is the ground wire for the pump, so that's going to stay. This goes to the auto tab controller. This connection down here goes to the actual pump itself. The red wire and the green wire go down to the trim tab hydraulic rams, and these are your sensors that tell you how much you have. The new system doesn't have these plugs, but they do come with adapters to convert over to the new system, so this will match up. And this blue wire goes up to the tab controller on the dashboard. All my power is now bus power, so my battery switch is down here, and then it doesn't matter if I go to battery 1 or battery 2, they both come to here when I turn the battery switch on. And then when I turn it off, all of my electronics are turned off. One of the things that I've figured out is if you get a roll of this white electrical tape, you can write and mark all of your cables. It makes it a lot easier. So I find the one that says trim tab power, and then I just follow the wires down so I don't have to sit and try and figure out which one's which. Okay, now we have this back, and we'll just pull it through. We've removed this unit. Okay, over here we have our red wire. This is going to stay because it goes to the hydraulic ram. The green wire is going to stay because it goes to the hydraulic ram. This blue wire goes to the switch, and it's going to be removed. And these wires go to the auto tab controller, and they're going to be removed. Now we're up here to our auto tab controller. This is the wire that came from the pump in the back, or from the relay. And this wire goes up to the ignition switch. these are your power wires. So now all we have is on the dashboard, we have our switches. We have over here this blue wire that came from the relay. We have a few wires down here. This is the power wires and your ignition switch wires. Okay. Typically all these wires aren't just hanging loose, but because of all the stuff I'm doing to the boat this year, they are. So this purple and orange wire goes up to the tab controller. This orange and black is the power wires for the auto tab controller, and then this other wire goes up to the auto tab controller. So I just have to go in. These things are nice. I have it labeled so that I know that any wires coming off of here, here we go, that took to the ignition switch. So that only has power when the switch is on. Those come out easy. This black wire goes up to the grounding block. Okay, we have one wire here on the grounding block, and then this little tiny one here. And then I don't know how well this is going to work out, but there you can see the blue, the orange, the purple, and that black wire going in, and it just has those little plastic nuts on the back. You spin those off and that'll all pop right out. Okay, we got the nuts taken off of this, so it will just pull up. There's with it. Okay. This just pulls out. Feed the wires through. Okay, this is going to be the mount for my cruise control. That's why that's in the way. I can swing it out of the way. This dashboard's had many iterations over the years. It's on my to-do list to get it redone so that I don't have so many holes all over. But the new switch will go right here, and it should be about the same size. All right, the unit showed up today, and we're moving along into our descent into boater bankruptcy. This is the Auto Trim Pro. Let's see what's inside. This is our dash mount switch. There's the nylon nuts for the screws. Then we have our wiring. That will go to the back. Have your wires here. Orange is usually power, black's ground, and purple is usually ignition. I'm assuming. We'll have to check on that. And here's our switch. Up, down, light, dark, all up, all down. That's good. Nuts. Here's our unit. Looks like mounting screws. Okay, there's our clip. For the old one, like I have, they sent this adapter. So this will go into the trim tab motor and then connect to there. So it'll go with an older system like mine. And then we have all of these. Okay, this is orange and black. Like I said, orange is usually power, black is ground. And you have your control wires. These two are going to go to your sensors, and they included 2 adapters so that you can hook up to the old system like I have. And then this is your NMEA 2000 cable. Like this, put that into there. Okay. So we'll have to get this extended. So that's not going to be long enough to go from the dash where the switch is to the back where this is. So not a problem. We'll get that done. Here's your adapters, screws, and owner's manual and installation. Alright, let's see what we can do.
Okay, before I say anything that sounds bad, I just want to say Hodges Marine is a good company, and I like them, and I use them a lot. And Bennett Trim Tabs has always been a good company. They always have good customer service. And I don't have any complaints with them at all. But as you saw in the unboxing, I was missing a cable that goes from the switch to the relay. And Hodges Marine has a great website. It's always easy to navigate. Their search function is awesome. You just start typing stuff and it starts showing you all the stuff that they have. So that's close to your search, and so you can usually find what you're looking for pretty quick. But the other company that I think is a great company is Bennett Marine. They're owned, I think, by Yamaha now. It is a great company, and they do good work, and I like their products, and the service is great. But the part that I did look it up, and part that I was missing was supposed to be in the box, and it wasn't. So I called Hodges Marine, and they said on something like this, it has to go through Bennett Trim Tabs, and that's Bennett's policy. So I called Bennett, and they said no. If it's broken or needs warranty, then it goes through them, but if there's a part missing, then it goes back through Hodges Marine. So I called Hodges Marine back, and they said, well, we'll have to do a ticket on it, and this, that, and the other. And a bunch of other things. So I'm not saying either of these companies are bad. All the people I talked to were completely professional, very polite. It's just, I'm only putting this in just to show that, not everything goes perfect. So that's why I do these projects in the winter. I don't expect perfection from anybody, and sometimes getting all the pieces for your boat together takes a long time. Unless I live in a small town, and there's not a boat dealer in my town. The nearest one is 30 miles away, and it's kind of pathetic. And to go to like a real boat dealer, it's 100 miles. So everything I do has to come, it has to be ordered in, especially if I want to get what I want. So no shade on any of these companies. It's just I'm gonna do the rest of the install, and we'll do the cable as soon as it gets here.
Okay, we got our control switch. It's going to go right where the old switch came out of. We have our gray wire that goes to the back of the boat. The orange is for power, the purple's for ignition, and the black is ground. And just hook it up. Okay, we're going to start with our power and our ground. The wires I'm hooking up are a little bit bigger than these, so it's just because it's existing wires. So I'm going to make these a little bit bigger so my terminal connector will seal good. This is going into a fuse, so I'm going to hook it up now. Have our little nylon nuts that go on the back. Okay, we got our nuts in, torqued to 1 grunt tight. Just hook up our power, ignition, and ground. We'll be done here. We have power, so that's good. Okay, now this one will hook up when the cable gets here, and we'll move to the back. Got our power wires, our sensors, and our pump, and our NMEA 2000 network. It's easier to make some of these connections from my seat, so we'll go ahead, hook this in. Orange is power, black is ground. Just going to strip off a little bit more. Add in our inline fuse. These are going to be in the engine compartment. I don't like wires just hanging around. So I'm going to loom this up. In the old systems, the pump grounded to the relay. There's a ground wire here, but that is now going to go to our bus power. Your unit can be mounted anywhere and any orientation according to Bennett. So it's going to be right next to my motor and power. NMEA 2000 cable comes to our backbone. Okay, the last thing we have to do is hook up our adapters to our sensors. And there's no polarity on these, so there's two green, but there's a black and red there. So it doesn't matter which one you hook it up to. I like those connections better. Hook them up. So now we just have this connector that goes to the helm. We'll run that cable, and then we'll clean up all of our wires and get it set back so that it's not running all over. And we'll test our system. All right, our extension cables finally came in. And we're going to hook that to this that goes to the pump, and then we'll go up to the helm. Okay, we have our cable coming from the switch, and we've run our cable from the relay up here, so we'll hook these up. This is a 20-foot boat, so depending on how big your boat is, I think for most fishing and ski boats, there's going to be plenty of cable to get back here. There's about 3 foot that comes with the switch. Then you have 25 foot of extension cable. Then you've got about a foot or two on the relay. So let's turn on the batteries and get it set up. Believe it or not, all those flashing lights are our first sign of success. It tells us that everything's hooked up and set right. So anytime these lights are flashing back and forth, it means the system doesn't detect the presence of a sensor. So we're going to hold the sun and moon in for about 3 seconds, and then these ones start flashing, and then you push bow down until your trim tabs are all the way down. Then the upper two start to flash. We're going to hold and retract them all the way. Okay, once the 4 yellow LEDs are continuously on, press and hold the bow down buttons until both actuators are fully extended. Then you press and hold the bow up buttons until they come all the way up. And now we have our sensors set. Okay, I'm going to see if I can get this to sync up. So go all down, and you can see the trim tabs coming down on the right side. You go all up, and they're going up. So what we want to do is translate that to our system over here. If I can't get a good video on this, I'll probably do it on Active Captain. But we're in our sonar, and so we'll hit Home, Vessel, Engines. Now let's say we tap up here for this field, and you go down to Vessel. And as you can see, there's nothing that says trim tabs. So let's go. So let's go back to let's see, hit Options. I'll go back, hit Home, Settings, Communication, NMEA. Go back, device list, make sure we're listed there. So let's go back to engines. Then we click there to put our trim gauge there. It's still not there. It's because your gauges can only go in certain fields. So let's click the one below it where it says fuel flow and hit replace data. Then go down to Vessel, and you find trim tabs right there. Now, back out of there, and our trim tabs are there. So we hit all down, and now we're getting numbers. And they're all the way down. So let's back out of there, go to Vessel, and let's click over here, clear that out, replace data, go down to Vessel, trim tabs, back, and now our trim tabs are here. And you can put this any way you want. And this is where my ADD kicks in and I start playing around. So I'm going to end this video here. It's all set up. I was going to wait to put this out until I did the sea trial and got that all set up, but I'll just do a separate video for that. I hope this helps if you were looking at buying one of these.